Good, how are you?
I'm so good. I've had such a busy 2 weeks, and after this weekend, I'm ready for it to all slow down.
You're Mr. Big Time. Of course you're busy.
Oh my God, stop. No, no, hoping to be one day, one day, one day.
Yeah.
But you've been busy too. I see you out about and everywhere.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy. I just haven't been posting a lot of content because I've been so busy, but I'm super excited to edit it and get it uploaded.
Yes, I'm excited to see everything because you've been with Key. I see all these things about you going different places doing camps. I'm super excited for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Um, well, we can hop right into it if you want to give everyone. I mean, I would assume a lot of people know who you are, especially after transferring to SMU and that whole announcement. But for those that aren't as familiar, if you want to kind of introduce yourself and give some backstory for you, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of people do know me from transferring to SMU, but and playing at South Carolina, but a lot of people don't really know my backstory and how I got to South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
because I just so happened to be a freshman that just popped out on the scene. And so it started my recruiting eligibility year when I was 16 going into my junior year of high school, is when I committed to South Carolina. And from then on out, it was just the perfect fit for me, with the coaching staff. And I didn't really know what it meant to be committed to the university that was my state, to be a
Mm-hmm.
homegrown talent. I didn't really know what that meant until of course, time passed and my freshman year, sophomore year passed, and I was like, okay, wait, no, I see what this means. It's a really big
Mm-hmm.
deal. But yeah, so my junior year, I was committed to them the entire year, and then we go to camps, and then it was a really big deal. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're going to South Carolina, and especially in Columbia, it wasn't really. It's not a really really big volleyball state, and I feel a lot of people don't really know that South Carolina really produces a lot of good talent. We just don't have as much as other volleyball states like Texas or
Mm-hmm.
the Midwest, or you know what I mean. But no, we've produced Sophie Fisher, me,
Mm-hmm.
Journey Robinson, and so I mean Kennedy Martin, Bayer Hall.
Right.
There's been a lot of really great talents come out of there. Just no one has stayed home, so it was really important to me once I committed to really own that. And so, speed up a little bit, my senior year passes by, and we're at a tournament, and we're probably an hour away from Columbia. And I am playing outside because one of our hitters was on her official visit. And in the semis of that tournament, I go down and I tear my ACL, which was that was pretty rough, because my junior year, or summer going into my senior year, I went to the All American camp, and I got
Mm-hmm.
MVP, and I was really looking forward to playing in the All American game my senior year, graduating high school early, starting college early. I kind of had it all set up of boom, boom, boom. This is how it's gonna
Right.
go. And then 9 games into my senior year, and mind you, I felt I was reaching a really, really great level of playing at high level that
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't really played at before, but I felt I was at my best game. And then tear my ACL, or I go down, and because South Carolina is kind of small, and the volleyball world is really tight knit community in Columbia. My I don't even know how, but my head coach at the time, someone ended up telling him that I went down, and I just remember being so terrified when he texted me. He was like, "Hey, heard you went down. Give me a phone call
Mm-hmm.
later sometime today once you get situated." And my heart literally dropped to my stomach
Yeah.
because I didn't have any concerns as far as him dropping me or anything like that, because my junior year, I fractured my hip, and it was a really big deal, because if it was anywhere else aside from where it fractured at, by half an inch, I would have had to have emergency surgery. And so through that whole process, he was just like, "Don't worry, we got your back. If you want to come down here to some games, because I was only 30 minutes away, we'd love to see
Mm-hmm.
you. The girls love to see you, and just talk to you a little bit." So they were super supportive. So when he texted me, I wasn't nervous. I was just like, "Dang, how did you find out already? This only happened 2 hours
Right.
ago."
Right.
Um, yep. And so then it was really cool because it really just showed me how much of a community that I have, and the support system that I have around me, from my family to the community, because I'd grown up in Columbus, South Carolina my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and played club, and I was just super, super loyal to I don't know, super loyal to, like, the program and the community that I was in. I wasn't big on, like, switching clubs and, like, all those things. Like, I played at a couple of clubs my, volleyball journey, but, like, I was super everybody knew me as, like, "No, like, she's a great human being," and so and that time, it was really, really helpful that, like, God blessed me for me to be able to see, like, how much support I really had before getting to college because it was
Mhm.
a really hard process, like tearing my ACL and all those things, and I had surgery in October, of 2023, and, I was enrolled in college and 4 months later, and it was super tough because I mean, you always worry if you're gonna, like, be the same player that you were,
Right.
or, like, if your knee's gonna respond, or, if you have setbacks, and so, like, my timeline of when I was gonna return back to play was literally, like, borderline of when we started, like, our first preseason
Mhm.
tournament, which was at Duke. And so when I first got to South Carolina, I literally, like, couldn't even take a step because of, like I was only 4 months post-op, and so it was just a really tough mental game, but I just received so much support from people, like, all over the country, and, like, for example, like, it's really crazy to think about, but one of the refs who had refed me, like, almost my entire life, she sent me a video because my high school team was at a tournament,
Mhm.
and she sent me a video, and she was like, "Hey, Victoria, like, I'm not sure if you know me," and I'm like, "Miss, like, ma'am, I've known you my entire life, at
Right.
least, like, 6 years, like, you refed me, you refed my sister, so, like, I've seen you around."
Yeah.
And my old coach gave her my phone number, and she sent me a video and was like, "Hey, Victoria, like, you might not know me. Sorry I'm at a tournament. It's really loud, but, like, I just wanted to tell you, like, I'm just sending so much love, and, like, we can't wait to watch you at South Carolina, this, at the
Oh.
3rd, and, like, I'm so sorry, like, this happened to you." And, like, I mean, if I showed you, like, my Instagram DMs from that time, it was just so, like it was just I don't know, it just instilled, like, a sense of confidence in myself and, like, just keep trusting the process because my whole life, like, I've always been undersized. I've always been the
Mhm.
underdog, and so I think that's just, like, a testament to, like, how good God is, and, like, it just really set me up for enduring, like, the next 4 years of my, like, college journey because college is a total different ballgame than, like, anything
Mhm.
you experience in your life, and so I think God always uses, like, the underqualified and, like, the people that are always overlooked to make the biggest impact and to have, like, the biggest difference. So, like, Moses or, like, Esther or, like, King David, like, those people, and so I was having a Bible study actually a couple days ago, and this message, like, I don't know, it was just a revelation that God gave me, and it was so good. And it was like the same isolation that looks like rejection was actually a
Mhm.
season of protection and preparation. And then for me, it was the lesson was just because you're not in the room yet doesn't mean you're not chosen. And so that was just super. I mean, when I read that, I literally, it just changed my entire perspective. Because my whole life, like, I'm just a little kid from Columbia, South Carolina,
Mhm.
5'3", like maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. And
Right.
so to be able to have like a breakout freshman year,
Mhm.
in the SEC, which at that time it was honestly like the hardest conference that year, like 2024 was a really popping year for the
Mhm.
SEC. And so that in itself had its own battles because again, like I hadn't played volleyball in a year. And then I, come out and I'm a starting bro the entire season, like didn't miss a
Mhm.
game, like fighting the battles of being a freshman, not having any experience
Mhm.
in the conference, any experience in the collegiate realm in the world, like playing on national television against like some of the best players in the country, like Brooklyn DeLay, Kennedy Martin as
Right.
a freshman. Like it was super
Insane.
crazy. Yeah, insane. But I think it just prepared me like my whole life because I played up like 3 or 4 years, like every year up until like my last year of club. And so, like, playing against older girls, you learn how to face, like, adversity in real time, and, like, you learn how to catch up to the speed and make adjustments in real time. Because everybody can tell you, like, you have a game plan or, like, you can scout all day long, but, like, it's something different when you see it and you're, like, in the game and it's just you and them. Like, you have no choice but to be successful. And so, I think I think my story is just a really, really cool one that I really wanna tell to a lot more people and, like, talk a lot more people through it.
No, I love that, and that is, like, such a crazy journey that you had over the past, like, years. I didn't even realize that you'd hurt your hip in high school too, so, I did know about the ACL, but, like, it is crazy because some people take so long to come back from that, everybody's injury is different, but then to come back and, like, barely be cleared and then start and play, like, every game is a testament, and then, like, last year you had, like, crazy numbers. Like I knew you had a good season because I was obviously I watched a bunch more, but then like I went back and looked at your stats and I was like, "Oh, Jesus." Like she had some like nasty stats. Like I think it was like 4.11 digs on the season, which was like top 5 in power 4. Like so good. Um
Thanks.
like super talented, and I hadn't paid a ton of attention until because like I just so many games, and then when Kentucky played you all this past year, I was like, wait, I knew she was good, but wait, she's eating, like she's killing it, like nothing dropped. I was like, oh my god, this girl is crazy.
Thank you.
And then you see like your videos of you like training and like you put so much effort into your training programs and getting better each day. And you like you can just tell you radiate positivity like over across the screen even. But just talking to you,
Thank
I'm like,
you.
oh yeah, you can just tell she has like such a good outlook on life.
Yeah, I think that really came from, like, my upbringing and, like, I don't know, I always just had, like, a joy being a kid and, like, playing volleyball, and I picked it up really, really young because my older sister played, and so we're 9 years apart, and so when I started, she started really late. She picked it up, I think, middle school, like, 8th grade, 9th grade,
Mhm.
and so I was just always around, and then my mom played, and so I used to go to her practices and, like, just I used to just love being in the gym. Even at, like,
Mhm.
4 or 5, 6, like, I had, like, one of the really small, like, balls that we, like, toss,
Mhm.
and, like, I'd have, like, a balloon that I would just, like, play, like, ups with or, like, a really big, like, beach ball that I would just work on, like, hand-eye coordination and stuff. And so, like, I used to just remember, like, even at her practices, I would just be walking around and, like, picking up balls and, like, just so happy to, like, be there, and, like, the coaches
Mhm.
would let me, like, hand them balls during the warm-ups, and, like, I used to always during the timeouts, like, "Mom, like, no, pass with me," or, like, just and I really always loved kind of, like, the attention that came with that because people
Mhm.
I've always been a small kid, and so, like, people are always, like, really surprised at either, like, my hand-eye coordination or, like, I don't know, just how, like, put together I am, and
Mhm.
so I've always just had a joy, and I honestly told myself that, especially coming into college, people can make it like a really big business thing. And so for me, because it's always been like my joy and my passion, I told myself that like the day that I stopped having fun and enjoying volleyball, like I would like quit because that's like a disservice to the sport that I
Mhm.
love so much and a disservice to like my parents who poured so much into me. And so no, I tearing my ACL and not being able to play for a year, it literally, like, lit a fire up under me of, like, so much gratitude and appreciation and,
Mhm.
like, being able to dive, being able to go play defense, being able to go do all these things at, like, 1,000 miles an hour the way I like
Mhm.
to, like, not having to wear a big bulky brace and figure out how to play at this level with the brace that's, like, 10,000
Mhm.
pounds on my leg, like,
Literally.
so I just have so much gratitude, and I think that's why, like, even in practice or, like, training hard or anything like that, like, I really enjoy a lot of that stuff because it's just,
Yep.
like, I'm, like, one in very few people who get to do this at this level, like, at this point in time because NCAA volleyball is really, like, the place to be right now, so,
1000%. 1000%
yeah.
agree. Now, as someone who's also been through an ACL surgery, I tell people all the time that like if you do your rehab correctly, you like come out with such a good appreciation for your body and like you care more about like I don't know, like you just learn a lot about yourself and then you can come back so much more technical because like I feel like a lot of times people can ride their athleticism and then after you get hurt, you like really learn like the technical side of volleyball. And so I was just going to see like did that kind of happen for you as well?
Oh my gosh, that I mean, it was a really I really think me tearing my ACL gave me so much clarity and, like, so much time to, like, take a step back and, like,
Mhm.
look at volleyball from that, like, technical aspect, so I
Mhm.
watched so much film, I watched so many games, like and because I couldn't really do much and it was, like, a progression of, like, when I was allowed to, like, do stuff in practice, it was like I got to sit back and, like, observe in real time, like, what I was facing, what I was gonna be up against, like, talking
Mhm.
to, our upperclassmen who were in my position, having a really great
Mhm.
relationship with Riley Whitesides, who is our, like, star All-American outside hitter,
Mhm.
and, like, we just had a lot of experience my freshman year, and so I think, like, not being able to play and go full go when I first got there and then, like, working myself through it, like, my coaching staff at the time being so supportive and, like, my athletics trainer writing me about, like, rehab, like, I didn't go home at all, like, any of the breaks, like, summer break, spring break,
Mhm.
anything, like, mind you, I was 30 minutes away from home, so I didn't really have to go. But like I was always rehabbing, always training. Like my strength coach, I got to be there all the breaks. So
Hmm.
my conditioning was great. Like I got to learn my body, like you said, I got to learn, how to recover. I got to learn
Hmm.
how to like be a collegiate athlete, but like at a really great pace, especially because I graduated early. Like it was a really smooth transition into like what a real first season looks like. And so I think like that just set me up head and shoulders above like, I mean, hence I got SEC all freshman team, but like I think it really started like that January, October from hitting rehab really hard and like yeah, no, that was a really great point, honestly. I haven't made that connection, but no, I'm really blessed that I was able to transition so smoothly and not just have like this pressure on me to perform as soon as I get
Hmm.
in to the gym space because I mean, that would be my piece of advice to any freshman or like any newcomer. Because even when I got here to SMU, it was like totally different of like
Hmm.
your first day, your first week, your first month. Like there's just a bunch of many milestones to hit because like you have to get comfortable like being in that atmosphere, being in that space. So, yeah, it was a really big blessing for me.
Well, I love that, and I'm glad that you're able to like. So many people can't say like they get done with it and like they are stronger for it. And I think a lot of that is mental. A lot of it's mental, and like knowing you're gonna be just fine. And I mean, I see you don't play with a brace anymore, which is huge. I think a lot of times that's a big struggle. And like you said, that brace weighs like 10,000 pounds. So like
Yeah.
the sooner you can get that thing off, the better.
Yeah,
Um,
no, seriously, it made me feel so slow too, that was the thing.
Yes, and sometimes it can hold you back a little. Like you're like more cautious, like, oh, am I gonna get hurt again while wearing the brace?
Yes,
At least I
yes.
was.
No, I
Um,
definitely was.
yeah. But do you want to talk about kind of how your role developed at South Carolina and like what led you to wanting to transfer? Just because you have such a strong presence. So even though you were young, I assume that you kind of took into more of a leadership on the court. I mean, like you could tell like people looked to you on the court even as a freshman or sophomore, and so kind of what that looked like.
Yeah, so for me, my whole life, I've been like the reliable, like
Hmm.
stability aspect of it for coaches. And so I think it does come from like my mental toughness aspect of it because I'm so like, I try to be so steady. Like, I don't get
Hmm.
too high, I don't get too low. Like, I love to celebrate, I love to have fun, but it's just like, no, we're here to win and we're going to win at all costs. And so I think for me, like, my mindset in defense adapts to like my mindset in life is like
Hmm.
1000% go getter. Like, you test me, like, it's going to be me and you all night, back and forth. Like, my biggest deal, especially in college, was like no one's gonna have a career high night against me type deal. And so
Period.
I think I think at South Carolina it was really tough, especially my freshman year was just like learning how to be a leader when you have a bunch of upperclassmen around you. And like
Hmm.
when you're the new kid and young kid on the block, like what does that look like and still being and having an impact. And so for me, it was just really about like learning the systems and learning relationships and learning. That's when I really learned how important it was to know like my teammates' strengths and weaknesses and like what the coach necessarily like needed from me to make this whole puzzle, make this whole thing work. And so that's when I really learned like the business and like teammate aspect of it. Um, because my freshman year we had two juniors, two fifth years, and then I was the only freshman and underclassman that played. And so it was super, super cool to have so much experience around me because everyone had
Mhm.
been there before. And like when I was nervous or when I was a little unsure about myself, like especially in those really big games or like I remember my freshman year we went to Georgia and they had their 10K day against us. And that's when they like pack it out. They have the football coach promote it. And so like the
Mhm.
entire football team was there, the entire sports, like all their sports teams were there. Like they had a whole pregame before us. Like it was a really, really big deal. And their gymnasium was packed. And their gym is like, I don't know, it's big coliseum, like black seats,
Mhm.
the floor is gray and red. And it was it was a really big deal. And so that was the first time that like the first two sets, I probably looked like I didn't know how to play volleyball. Like I kid you, I kid you not. It was just not, it was not it. And then I like couldn't pass the ball. It was not good. I mean, I remember Erica Lovett, who is
Mhm.
graduated now, but she had just transferred there. And it was probably like the second or third set. And she literally like fast-paced down ball at, like, 70%, and I would just
Mhm.
I don't know, I just wasn't it, and it just, like, literally hit my hand and, like, fell, and I was just like, "Wow," like, it has really hit a point, and, like, my dad's there, like, my mom's there, my sister's there, and so, then, like, we would call timeouts, and then, of course, it was, like, headed into the 3rd set with, like, the 5-minute break, and I literally, like, would be in the timeouts, like, sitting next to Riley or, like, Tyra or Aubrey, and I'd be like, "Wow, like, I really don't think it could get any worse, like, I really don't." So
At
and
least you kept
they
it real.
yeah, and no, that's one thing about me, like, I'm very positive, but I'm very realistic, and so they were just like, "Dude, we know how good you are. Like, you're a freaking beast." Like, and the whole time, like, my coaches too,
I
they were
love
just
that.
like, yeah, at like different points in times. Like, it wasn't like a really big deal of like I'm having a mental breakdown. Like, I just can't do this. Like, coach set me out.
Mhm.
Like, no, I never reached that point.
Right.
But it was just so, like, helpful to get myself out of that rut because we ended up going 5, and I ended up having, like, I think, like, 23 or 24 digs in, like, 5 sets, but and mind you, I had only had probably, like, 3 or 4 in the first 2 sets, so
Mhm.
the
Right.
next couple of sets, I, like, warmed up, and then I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, I'm good." Like, the ball was rolling, like,
Mhm.
I'm passing dimes again, I'm like, "Okay, I found my groove." But I think it just really helped show me that, like, mind you, there's 10,000 people around, like, gym's packed, they had full football band going on,
Mhm.
can't hear the coaches from me to you, and so, like, it was super important for me to have, like, that type of support around me on the floor in the moment and, like, high pressure situations to know that, like, even if you come out walking out of here having the worst game of your life, like, you still have support of your teammates and your coaches, and, like,
Mhm.
they're not looking at you any differently, like, even though you're not having your best night, and so for me, I think it was super helpful of, like, taking a step forward of, like, if I'm having a great night, if I'm not having a great night, like, no matter what, like, I have to do what I can to, like, support my teammates and, like, uplift my teammates, so, like, being a bro, I'm not, like, running the offense, like, I'm not setting, so I'm not running offense, but
Mhm.
it does start with my first pass. Like, it does start with me, like, not making my setter run all over the place and putting her in
Mhm.
great situations to be able to go, like, have ISO moments. So I
Mhm.
think, like, just I learned so much my freshman year of being a leader and, like, not being the most vocal leader, but by, like, leading by example. So, like, I
Mhm.
had to be, like, the hardest worker because I was the new kid on the block. Like, I had to learn, kind of how to engage off the court with my teammates of, like, building those relationships. So that really helped me in, like, my leadership aspect.
I love that. And then that was all your freshman year, correct? So
Yeah.
then this past year, you obviously were a little older, and then a lot of
Mhm.
those older people on the team were gone. So then obviously it's a little bit more a little easier for you to step into that leadership role. So how did that change from first year to second year? And like what kind
Um,
of I mean, you're pretty much the same. So like now people go from looking at you like the baby to like, okay, wait, she's kind of running this stuff, you know?
yeah, yeah. So I think it was really I mean, I knew I was gonna step up into being, someone that people look to, especially, like, the coaches
Mhm.
transitioning into my sophomore year, but it was really tough because my coaching staff who, like, recruited me from the time I was 16 to my freshman year ended up, moving and taking the job to Marquette, and so that all
Mhm.
happened between, like, January 1st week in January, first couple weeks in January, and then for a while, we had, like, no coaching staff, and so, like, we were waiting to see, like, who we were gonna get, and so, like,
Mhm.
I don't know if people know this, but when your coach leaves or, like, certain situations happen, you get, like, a 30-day window to, like,
Mhm.
put your name in a transfer portal, and it's, like, you get your own little window, and so I really ultimately didn't wanna leave South Carolina my freshman year because I had just experienced, like, a whole year, and it just to me, it didn't make sense to leave, especially because it was like, now I have experience under my belt, like, this is my home state, like, there is a lot of pride in that, and so
Mhm.
it was like, I want to be a part of building South Carolina volleyball into
Mhm.
something that, like, younger girls like me when I was younger could, like, look up to because it was just really different, I don't think I necessarily, like, had a role model that I could talk to and, like, see, like, as a real person, it was just
Mhm.
always like, "Oh my gosh, watching them on TV is super cool." And
Right.
so, like, that's why it was really important to me my sophomore year, like, um, to be that person for younger girls, and so in the South Carolina area and, like, surrounding areas, and so yeah, we didn't have a coach, and it was really important. We had, like, transfers come in, we had, of course, like, freshmen come in, and people who stayed, and it was just really important because there's like I hold myself to a certain standard, and it's just like go big or go home. And
Mhm.
you miss half the shots that you don't take, if not all the shots you
Right.
don't take, you know? So I'm a big vocal person. I'm a big like, no guys, like lead by example. Like I'm not a big like bark, bark, bark at you, but like this is how we do things, and like this is the standard of like the weight room. This is the standard of what
Mhm.
practices look like. And so yeah, I think it was really important for me to still have that stabilizing piece about myself, and like not talk negative, and like not feed into the questions or the fears of like not having a
Mhm.
coach for like 3.5 weeks. And like just the unknown is really hard,
Right.
especially for someone who's like a control freak, kind of like me. Um, and so then we got our new coaching staff, and I talked to them. I think literally we had a day when they between when they got the job and when like the portal 30-day window closed. And I talked to my old head coach, Coach Sarah, and we had a great conversation. And throughout that whole like 3.5 ish weeks, I was like in constant conversation with my dad about like the unknown, which is really, really tough to deal with.
Mhm.
And so it was just like there are like certain things that I do need to hear in order to like feel comfortable to stay here, as far as like, like
Right.
the general, like the direction the program's headed in. Like, what are
Mhm.
you looking for in your players? Because coaching staff changes can lead to a lot of big changes. And so
Mhm.
talked to Coach Sarah, hopped on a call with her literally the night that they announced that she got the job, and everything that I needed to hear to like stay there, as far as like an understanding just of who she was as a person and as a coach, and like her coaching style and what she was looking for, was exactly like what I needed to hear. And so I ultimately made the decision to stay at South Carolina, and I was super, super happy. I loved the new energy that she brought. I loved the new players that she brought in.
Mhm.
And then I think it just like shifted kind of South Carolina volleyball into, a different era, like the Sarah Brumley Noble era. So
Mhm. Okay, cool. And then do you want to talk about what it was like making that decision to transfer and kind of like, I mean, I talked to Krista over the weekend, so I know a little bit, but
mhm.
just like what it was like for you. And I mean, obviously it seems like you had a great experience. So like obviously that's always gonna be hard to leave. And then I mean, I'm a huge fan of SMU volleyball and
Yeah.
their coaching staff and everything. So I think they're doing really great things there. So I think it's a great fit for you. And I think that based off of what I know about the team, I think you're going to be just fine and kill it there. And so just kind of like what that was like, and then we can go into kind of your experience at SMU now.
Yeah. it was really tough to make the decision to leave South Carolina, especially because it is home, and like not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people know, but like I'm the baby of six, and so like I've 13 nieces and
Oh,
nephews, and like everybody literally lives in Columbia, South Carolina, which is, I
oh,
mean, I think everyone lives within like 30 minutes away from campus. And so it was really tough because I mean I literally wear this bracelet every single day because my
oh,
little nephew, he made it for me during Christmas.
oh,
And so, yeah, they used
I
to
love
love
that.
coming to the games, and like had so much fun. Like they'd come in the back with me in the tunnel, and like meet, of course, like all the famous women's basketball players that we had, and like men's basketball players. And so like it was just a really tight knit community, especially like integrating my family like with
Mhm.
the program, which is really big for me. So leaving was really tough. And then again, like I had a lot of support from the state, and like my old high school clubs, like surrounding clubs, like club directors who've watched me literally grow up in the system. Refs literally refed me from like 12s to like some refs literally got their certifications and were able to ref my like college games. So it was
Mhm.
tough to leave home, especially because I'm a big family oriented community type of
Mhm.
person. But I ultimately made a decision to leave because I want to be really, really great, and I want to be one of the best to ever, like, touch the sport. Like,
Period.
my inspiration was, like, Morgan Hens, and, like, we also had, like, Jenna Hampton was at South Carolina after she
Mhm.
transferred from Penn State. And so, like, I remember watching Morgan Hens when she was in college, and, like, I was like, "That girl is legit." Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of people try to say that, like, defensive liberos are, like, out of control, or not necessarily, like, you know what I'm saying, like, technically
Mhm.
sound. And so, or like you have like defensive liberos or like passing liberos. And so for me, it was just like really, really big was like my sophomore year, people knew that I was good at defense, but I think like I established like, no, I'm a pretty legit passer as well.
Mhm.
And so going into the portal and making the decision to leave South Carolina ultimately stemmed from like I want to be contending for a national championship and I want to put myself um on a national platform and a national stage to be able to show the world that like you don't always have to be like the first called or you don't always have to be
Mhm.
like the it girl from the time that you start to the time that you like get here. Like
Mhm.
no, like there's always a process, and like I said earlier, like just because you're not in the room doesn't mean you're not chosen. And so like I think to be able to be like a symbol of that and like show that like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, or like no, like your hard work can like get you places, like just
Mhm.
keep staying the course and like you can be humble and still like end up where you're supposed to be at. Is something that I just knew that like I wanted more for myself. And so I ended up deciding to put my name in the portal, and it was really tough. It was a rough couple of days because like the realization hit me that like
Mhm.
I won't be home anymore. Like I probably
Yeah.
will be hours away from home. And so I spent a lot of time with my fam, a lot of time like with the little cats, like my little nieces and nephews. Like I just love them so much, because they like have no idea like what's going on. Like they have no
Yeah.
idea that like I'm not gonna be there in a couple months. So yep, and then ultimately put my name in the portal, and it was I can't lie, it was pretty insane. I remember, like, the first
Yeah.
week that I was in the portal, I was probably on phone calls, like, every hour on the hour for, like, days on
Wow.
end. Yeah, and then it was crazy because so that morning I woke up before like, I did paperwork, and then people don't know, but it takes 24 hours to go through. And so, um, I got the notif or I was talking on the phone with my mom and my sister, and I was kind of in the bed, kind of like, not really feeling
Right.
great, just kinda just going through the motions, and
Right.
then I got the notification that that my name the paperwork went through, my name was in the portal, and I was like, "Guys, like, it's happening, like,
It's
it's the
happening.
real deal now," and so they were like, "Okay," and then my first phone call came through, literally not even 2 minutes later, and then I mean, 2 minutes later, I was on the phone with, first school, and then, my email was just flooded with
Mhm.
literally, like, top 15, top 25, top 10 programs, top 5 programs in the country, like, top 3 programs in the country, and then I'm, like, getting text messages, and then, Coach Kai, she texted me, or I think she called me a couple of, like, probably, like, 30, 45 minutes later, and it was like, the time difference was probably, like, 3,
Mhm.
4-hour time difference, and she was, like, sleepy. It was, like, 6 AM there. She was like, "Dude, what is going on?" Like, because I hadn't told anybody, like, people kept asking me, like, for a while, honestly, like, if I was gonna transfer, but I
Mhm.
honestly had, like, no intentions of even thinking about, like, leaving South Carolina, or, like, no intentions of thinking about the portal until, like, season was over, and then I had to, like, reevaluate of, like, what I wanted for, like, the next
Mhm.
couple of years of my life. So yeah, I made the decision, put my name in the portal, all that happened on the phone with Coach Kai. She's like, "I'm guessing you went in the portal. Like, what is going on? Like, my phone is literally blowing off the hook." And there were like 4 or 5 schools because she works with like the best of the best. And so like a couple
Mhm.
of her like connections in the college world texted her and was like, "We need her number. Like we love her, blah blah blah." And then one of my old coaches who no longer coaches in the college world from South Carolina, a couple of them, and like one of my like technical coordinators is at like another university.
Mhm.
They like have reached out to them, and then of course I hadn't told anybody and I hadn't posted about it, but
Yeah.
they reached out to them and was like, "I'm guessing you're in the portal, like so and so and so and so is asking for your number, like is it okay with you?" Like so it was a really cool process, and I really wanted to talk to as many schools
Mhm.
um, as I could, just to hear. Of course, I talked to, like, all the schools that I actually, like, had interest in and, like, wanted to know more
Mhm.
about, simply because, like, I didn't get to, like, really get to know, like, a lot of the coaches and a lot of the systems, and so it was really, really cool to be able to hear a lot of different philosophies and be asked, like, the same question 10,000 times, like but
Mhm.
it was a really cool experience, and then I got the email notification. I was actually on the phone with the school when I got an email from Coach Krista, and I mean, it's SMU. Like,
Yeah.
come on, it's SMU. And so this was after I had talked to like a handful of schools. Um, But yeah, I was on the phone. Me and my dad was on every single phone call, and like during this point in time, it was like December, so it was his birthday. And so we were talking to a school, and I like got the email, and I was like, so I put the phone on mute, and I was like freaking out. I was like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, like, are we serious? Like SMU,
yeah.
like, and so I'm actually gonna post a video about that coming up, so, about my reaction. But yeah, no, then I texted it to my dad, and I was like, Dad, like, we might have to hurry this phone call along. Like, Coach Kristen just texted me, like, this is a really big deal because be and I say this because it was really, really, I think, divine that SMU
Mhm,
reached out to me because going into the portal, I hadn't really talked to anybody about it other than my family just because, like, I'm just, like, super, super close with
mhm,
them, and I know they would never lead me astray, and so they know they've watched my whole life. They know what I want. They know, like, the path that I'm headed down, and so my goals are, like, I wanna play professionally, like, especially now that, like, volleyball in the States is, like, a really big deal.
mhm,
Like, I wanna play pro, I wanna play for, Team USA, like, I wanna be contending for a national championship, and so, like, and I want to be in a program that is, like, my home away from home because it'll be my
mhm,
first time moving away, and so, like, I have to have that family, like, aspect to it. It can't just be all business. It
mhm.
can't just be like, "This is what we need you for, you're just a volleyball player," like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So, um, going into the process, I was like, if a school like SMU were to reach out to me, just like a caliber type program were to reach out to me,
Mhm,
like that would be like my ideal because my dad is really big with like situational scenarios and stuff. So he was like,
mhm.
like give me an idea of like what you're looking for, like what you want. And so I said that. And then so when the email came through, I was just like,
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay, God, like, let's just, of
right,
course, like, we had to get on the phone and, like, have some conversations about, getting to know them, and because I hadn't, like, met them before,
right.
so it was really important, like, I watched and followed, like everyone has for the last couple of years,
Mhm,
and so, like, just seeing that the way that their team performs for them, like, like, it's
right.
very easy to tell when a team is playing for their coach and when a team is playing for, like, their own, like, pride that they have in their program
Mhm,
compared to, like, a team that is just, like, very individual based and, like, just working just to, like because they're all just really good at volleyball. And so,
yeah.
um, it was super, super cool to talk to them and, like, Coach Sam is quite literally, like, the same person across the board. Like, from the time that I talked to her from our first phone call to like when I talked to her in person on my visit to here now in the gym with her every single day, like she's quite literally the same person, which is really funny. Um, but yeah, I talked to them, absolutely loved our conversations. And then it was really big, of course, for me to get on campus and to kind
Mhm,
of feel like just to kind of see like if I could see myself here in Dallas, Texas,
mhm.
and like on SMU's campus. And got here, fell in love with it. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. It's in Dallas. Like
It's amazing.
the alumni base, like the
Mhm,
support that they have here from the athletic director, from the president, like from all over. And like it's just absolutely insane. And so
mhm,
I couldn't have been more happy with my decision to come here. And literally from the time that I got here, I think something that's really important that I think a lot of people should know is that from the time that I committed here, like, verbally and then, like, posted about it, to the time that I, like, stepped foot on campus, I had contact with every single person on the staff, from, like, the athletic
love
trainer
that.
to all the coaches, the assistant coaches, the head coach, like, my strength and conditioning coach, like, I had literally talked to and, like, built some type of relationship with them before I had even stepped foot on campus, which was I mean, that spoke volumes to me before I got here, and so I think I told my dad every single day, and he was like, "Dang, well, don't act like you love it so much being 15 hours away from home." But I literally tell him every single day, like, I just sorry, that I just love it here.
Mhm.
And every single day I grow more happy to be here and more happy to, like, know that this is where I'm supposed to be at.
Oh, I love that, and I can't agree more. I think that they are, like, hands down one of my favorite staffs. Like, I've talked to all of them, so, like, they're except for the strength coach, which I hope I get to this summer. But,
Yeah. No,
like,
you
I
will,
think
you'll
it's a
love Ant,
great
he's great.
yeah, because I'll be there with you this summer, baby.
Yeah.
Um, it'll be so fun to just hang out. But, I like when I like obviously have seen you through social media and like playing on the court, and then when I got to go to dinner with Diego and Krista, I was like, oh, that's a good fit. That's a good fit. Yeah, like I just loved them. They were so fun.
Yeah.
Um, but I really like the phrase you use because it's so funny because I say this phrase all the time, and I think it's like a good message for the younger generation. Like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and it's like what I lived by through all of high school and college. Like it is such a good phrase, and if people can shift that mentality, like that's such a nice phrase to stick on. Um,
Yeah. I actually had, like, a really ginormous sticker on my wall in my room, like, my childhood room, and it literally said that, and it was, like, in bold, and it was, like, humongous. It was probably, like, 6 feet, and it was just like, yeah, talent like, when talent doesn't work hard, like,
yep. And I
yeah.
like live by that. Like hard work can get you so far in life. It gets you through your injuries. It gets you through like wanting to be whatever you want to be in the sport or in life too. It doesn't have to be just sports. But I definitely think that was such a good decision for you to like. It's hard for you to leave like a school that obviously was a great fit for you, and I think that that's why the transfer portal is so great. Like you don't have to leave on bad terms. It happens all the time. People just want something different, and it's nothing against South Carolina, but I agree that like you have such a similar style of play to Morgan Henson. So I like that she's your idol because she's one of my favorites, if not like my favorite of all time.
Crazy story, crazy story. A couple of weeks ago, when the Omaha Supernovas were gonna play who are they? I don't know. I can't remember who they were gonna play, but they were gonna play here in Dallas, and they literally practiced right after us on a Friday or a
Oh no
Thursday,
way.
and I got to watch, like, Brooke Nuneviller and Morgan Hens and,
Hmm.
Merritt Beeson, like, we literally got to sit and observe their practice. Like,
I
it
love
was
that.
the coolest thing ever, and I got to watch Morgan Hens in the flesh, like, up close and personal.
Oh,
So, yeah,
amazing.
it was really cool.
Amazing. I love that. And now, so your goals, I obviously to play professional and then eventually USA. Are you open minded to going overseas, or now that they're? I mean, both leagues are adding so many teams each year that like, and the level's just getting so good. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff with Love, but what are you like leaning towards? Because obviously, you have a couple years. You got some time, but
Yeah.
what are you like kind of thinking right now for post college, like overseas, or just open minded to whatever?
Yeah, I think I'm really open to whatever. I don't know, again, I think it'll be another transition period, but
Hmm.
I think exactly the way, like, this transition was with me, like, moving away from home because when I was at South Carolina and I knew I wanted to play professionally, like, originally, it was really big for me to be like, "Yeah, no, I wanna go move and play volleyball overseas just to, like, get out and, like, kinda see, like, what the world
Hmm.
has." But that was, like, before Love had, like, stepped on the scene and popped out like how they have this year,
Hmm.
and, like, of course, all the other professional leagues, and so now I'm really open to whatever as long as, it's, like, the best fit for me and it makes the most
Hmm.
sense, and so I am super excited. I do, though, before I hit, like, professional level, like, eligibility, I want to go train out of the country, either in, like, Japan or, like,
Hmm.
Brazil or somewhere that's, like, really, really good with, like, liberos and just to go see what, like, the international life is looking like because, again, I think Coach Kai was really big, but, like, her biggest piece of advice for me when I trained with her for the first time out in Vegas, before I started South Carolina in that January, was to, like, be creative and, like, get really creative with, like, your moves, and, like, you don't always have to
Hmm.
be, like, super, super sound on, like, like, already having your mind made up of what you're gonna do. And so I
Hmm.
think, like, international and overseas are really, really cool with that, and they get really creative. So I do wanna go over there and, like, train for some time to get a little bit
Yeah.
more experience under my belt and more
Yeah.
knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. And I agree. Like Japan, just like I don't know what they do over there, but girl, them Japanese DSs and liberos are filthy. They are so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So I think that'd be great. And I don't know. I don't know if SMU has, because I know it's like what, every 4 years you can take your program like overseas or something. And I don't know if they have done that recently or not.
Yeah,
So.
you might not be able to push this, but
But do you also want to go into the differences? Obviously, like SMU's level of play is just like next level, especially with like bringing in Suli Davis, and they have other, and they're actually getting some really good talent out of high school now. So, like,
Mhm.
just the level jump and, like, what that's done for you in practice, having that kind of a competitive gym, and then, yeah, just, like, what that's done. I mean, obviously, you can't speak about the ACC just yet,
Yeah.
but, like, what that's done just, like, jumping from South Carolina to SMU and, like, how the practice gyms has been different and, like, what the culture's any different, like, the differences there, and, like, what that's been like.
Yeah. The difference is very, very lively, competitive, and there's a lot of big personalities here. And
Mhm,
like I feel like if people could be a fly on the wall or if we could have like a behind the scenes of recording our practices,
mhm,
like it's so much fun. Like we actually I think this group of girls, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago or like last Friday in practice, but like we are so on task and like mission oriented and like process oriented and like loving the process. And so, like, even in strength and conditioning, like our workouts and our off the floor when it comes to like our schoolwork and like meeting with all of our support system here and like
mhm,
our practices and our practice gym, like everything is just so much fun and so like mission oriented of like this is like we could see like I literally I'll show you. Coach Sam literally illustrated this, but it was like it was like we want to be like here like winning a national championship,
mhm,
right? Or like whatever our end goal is. And like this is like where we're starting off at. Like this was our very first practice. Our first practice. So here's the thing about SMU. We don't have like conditioning and our strength coach doesn't believe in conditioning as like
mm,
sprint tests or bike tests because the level of play takes care of itself. And
yeah,
that did not like I didn't really understand that coming especially from an SEC school where everybody is like strength and conditioning till you die. Like
mhm,
I didn't understand that, but when our first practice and we were literally only practicing for maybe an hour and everybody we could barely make it to practice because we were
oh,
just like
wow,
so gassed because it was just like the level of play that you have is just so good and so fast paced and everybody is good at their job. Like
mhm,
they're how sometimes you have like stragglers or like you're only as good as your
mhm,
weakest link. Like we don't really have that here. Like
yeah,
everybody takes pride in doing their job. And so like
mhm,
in order for us to reach this, like it's not gonna look like, of course, like the straight and narrow, like everyone says. Like
mhm,
it's gonna be, some dips and dives of like learning the system and then coming back up and then, all of this.
right,
Like it's not just a straight shot. And so
yeah,
and it was like this part here, like you have to love this part and like take a lot of pride
mhm,
in like this part and the ups and downs. And my dad he talks about it all the time of like you can't just talk about how peaches and cream everything is once
mhm,
you reach where you're at. Like you
yeah,
have to like love the process because Coach Sam said it, like that's the only way that you enjoy like reaching your ultimate goal of winning a national championship, which Texas
1000%.
A&M literally proved it last year. Like
Mhm,
no one really like betted on them winning a natty championship, but like the pieces that they had, like the level of commitment that they had from each and every player, like the way that they like came together as a team, like on the court
mhm,
and like played for Coach Jamie, like it just you could just tell. And I think like that's exactly how like we are this year. Like people might not be banking on us winning a national championship. Like they might think, oh, like they're gonna go far, but winning it all is probably what I'm saying? Like they probably have the blue bloods up there.
yep,
And so which is why I love SMU because it's like everything that I've endured like my whole life. And like their story is
love
like
it.
exactly like my story and like what they represent. And so like speaking to our practices, like no, you're challenged, you're pushed every single day. Like Coach Sam is very like, this is the standard, this is how we do things, and like there is no like my way or the highway. Like everybody
Mhm,
is just so like, no, this is the way that we do things here at SMU. And
mhm,
so like it's so easy to be around and it's if that's who you are as a person, then this is like the perfect fit for you. But like everyone's team oriented, like we have a lot of fun, we're super, super competitive. Like we actually talk the most junk, like the most stare downs, like the
I love
coaches
it.
the coaches get into it like they support us
Mhm,
110% and like at the same time they hold us very accountable like yeah again like this is the standard and like we're not going to go below the standard like there really is
mhm,
no other option and like us as the players though like we don't believe that there's any other option like no like this
mhm,
is the way we do things and we know that like there's always learning pains and like growing pains especially for the transfers coming in like
mhm,
again new system new program like all of this is new to us and so they've been super, super supportive, like the coaches and even the girls. Like our first hangout was super, super different because sometimes it can kind of be like walking on eggshells when you're the new kid on
Mhm.
the block. And so we had our first team hangout, and it was one of our like teammates were hosting it, and literally everybody walks in because we all get there around the same time. Everyone walks in, and all the returners are just like, "Oh my god, like hey girl, like how was your break? Like so good to see you."
Oh.
Like besties, like buddy, like it was just so refreshing and almost like abnormal, but like that's just the way it is here. Like everybody is so like close, everyone's so family oriented as
Hmm.
far as like this is our team and like no one is gonna break this apart. Like there are no missing links, like there is no one like by themselves, like there are no lone wolves here. Like everyone is just so
I love
together and the
that.
coaches like have your back no matter what. And so and practice, like, I mean, it's a testament, like, Maggie, her thumb literally sticking out of the sand, like, that's
Oh
literally
my
yeah,
God.
that's a
They
testament
showed me a
here.
picture of that. It
Yeah.
was not pretty.
Yeah, no, not at all, but that's exactly how it is here, like,
Mhm.
no, you're gonna jam your fingers. My 3 fingers have been jammed for, like, 2 weeks, like, I
Yeah.
kid you not, like, I get them taped every day, but, like, you just take so much pride in competing and having so much fun, like, just like a story of a couple of weeks ago, we were playing, first ball side out game, and it's like one side is like
Mhm.
the first ball side out, and then the other side is just like the defensive side.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I love that drill. I do it with my girls.
yeah, and so we like were doing it in like our rotations and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and so we went through all of the rotations and we ended up tying in like 2 of the rotations. And then like the next competition day, we like picked up in those 2 rotations and we finished one. And then we were like in this last rotation, and I kid you not, we kept tying in this one rotation at like
Hmm.
6-6 for almost the entirety of practice. Like we had to
Mm.
do like double or nothing. And like I think it's just a testament because people are like there are no tips. Like Coach Sam literally when we're doing defensive or like the hitters are working on, hitting
Mhm.
off the block or hitting their shots or whatever, like Coach Sam literally had to step in and be like, "Hey guys, so we need to incorporate a little bit more off speed." Like,
Yeah.
because everyone is just so balls to the walls. Like Favor is just stuffing people left and right. Sully is just tooling people left and right. Like it's just so much fun. And like it's so much fun.
Yeah, it really seems like everyone is like bought in too. Like I thought last year everyone was bought in, and obviously there was a couple like injuries to starters, which is never fun, obviously. And they still made such a deep run given 2 starters being out. But I don't know. When I talked to Krista, it just seemed like everybody is so bought in to like the
Yeah.
program and the wanting to win a national championship.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also really cool because I feel like a lot of people can talk a good game, but, like,
Hmm.
here, I feel like we don't have a lot of, like, people, like, talking like that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I feel like more so we just show up the same way every single day, and we approach every day the exact same. Like, granted, of course, it's spring and, like, of course, it's gonna be how season's gonna be, like, you have your days where you're feeling it more than others, and, like, some days you're just
Hmm.
not feeling it, but, like, on those days, we're still very because 'cause we've had a couple of, like, ooh, like, yeah, we've had some late night
Hmm.
studying for exams and stuff like that, but, like, even when we are in the weight room, because we always work out before practice, like, even when we're in the weight room, like, we still have, like, a mission accomplished, and, like, this is setting us up for a late run in December, and so
I love
it's
that.
it's something super cool that honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't get to experience, especially, like, in a healthy environment like this where you get to grow and you get to fully be yourself and, like, you get if you're quiet or if you're loud or if you wanna talk junk or if you wanna just sit here and smile or,
Hmm.
like, you get to be whoever you want to be as long as you're, like, contributing it to the standard of SMU volleyball, and I think that's really, really special.
I love that. So, following that, what's next for you guys? You guys have what, spring games and then summer and right back at it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a really aggressive spring lineup.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what the heck? It's like most people's springs are like a breeze, like, oh, let's just get the freshmen involved that enrolled
Yeah.
early. And I saw
Yeah.
that. I was like, not the tour of Texas going on, girl.
No. No, real life collegiate tour of Texas, quite
Like,
literally.
actually, I was like, what on earth am I looking at? I wish I could be there. I wish I could watch all of them. But no, that's super exciting. And you all have almost all your freshmen, or do you have all your freshmen already?
No, we have a couple of freshmen joining us, in the
Okay,
summer.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that I mean, the floor is yours to take this wherever you want to go. But I think that pretty much covers everything from high school through college
Yeah,
for you and what's next. I'm so excited. You're one of my
thanks.
faves, so I'm super
Oh,
excited to see where you go.
thanks.
Um, and obviously, we'll get to kiki some this summer when I'm
Yeah,
there.
yeah, no, I'm super excited. I think for me, a lot of people don't really take into account of, like, what they want while they're in college, just of, like, how
Hmm.
college can, like, set them up for, like, the future. But for me, my biggest thing, and that's why I kinda, like, say yes to a lot of opportunities that I'm given to, like, go work with Coach Kai and then, like, go with her to Hawaii and then, like,
Hmm.
do a couple of partnerships that I'm doing, is just because, like, I'm a really big people person, and,
Hmm.
like, getting to talk to a lot of people gives you a lot more knowledge about, like, how people work, how people think, how
Hmm.
different people's lives are, and then, like, just that, again, leadership role of, like, being able to connect with so many different
Hmm.
kinds of people, and so, like, for me, while I'm in college, my biggest thing is, like, to meet as many people as I can, whether those are, like, younger girls or, like, a couple of people that I play against, like, it's super cool. I mean, I fangirl, like, meeting against people like my opponents. And I'm like, "Oh my god," like, "Brooklyn, like, hey girl," or like,
Hmm.
"Athena, oh my gosh," like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, that is, like, the coolest part to me, like, I think when you're younger, you, like, dream about being here, and then when you're here,
Hmm.
you can only think about, like, what's next for you, and for me,
Yeah.
I'm, like, really, really wanting to enjoy, like, this part and chapter of my life and, like, share that with, like, as many people as possible. So that's why I'm, like, super grateful to be able to do this with you today.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. And it was so funny because Coach Kai reached out to me and I was like, it's so funny because I just had a book schedule and I was like, I was already going to reach out to you. I was like, when she messaged me, I was like, oh, yes, girl, let's hop on this. Cause I was like, she was next on my list to ask to come on here. So I was like, let's just speak this up. Let's just make this happen. But that
Yeah.
actually reminded me of a question real quick before we
Mhm.
get done here.
Yep.
Um, because now that you're at a bigger school that's going to give you more exposure and a higher level of play, obviously, like you were saying, like Morgan Hintz was one of your faves. Like, I've talked to my friends about this, how a lot of the like top liberos, other than like you and Molly and Ramsey Gary, and whoever in Nebraska ends up getting the start. There's not a ton of like top liberos left, and so what's it going to be like to like now that you finally get the spotlight on you at a big school to like girls are going to want to be you. They're going to want to be
Yeah.
Victoria Harris. So like, what's that going to
Yeah.
be like? And you have such a good energy, and like I feel like you would be such a good role model for the younger generation. So, what's
Thank you.
like I don't know, like, kinda take that wherever you want, like, what's that gonna be like
Yeah.
being able to be that role model
Yeah.
for somebody that's younger?
Yeah, I think for me, it's gonna be, again, to, like, showcase, like, who I am as a person and,
Mhm,
like, for people to, like, continue to get to know me, but, like, it's really gonna be important for me this year and, like, the next 2 years to own the moment. Like you said, like, I'm
mhm,
on a much bigger national stage now, and so I really want to, like, enjoy it as much as I can, and so, like, not letting the moment get too big or not, like, looking too
mhm,
far ahead, but, like, my freshman year taught me really well to, like, if you do have you have games 2 games a week and stuff like that,
mhm.
like a Wednesday, Friday game type deal, but, like,
Right.
you can only focus on, like, the Wednesday night game, and then you can only focus on the Friday night game. So, it's really important for me to, like, own every moment. That's why I'm, like, really trying to focus on, like, owning the spring of, like, getting better, getting used to being in the system, getting comfortable with, like, being here, playing in front of my coaches, just playing with my
Mhm.
teammates, building that chemistry, and so, like, this year, yeah, that's, like, my theme is, like, own the moment, like, don't shy away from it, like, God has, like, put you on this path and, like, prepped you for so long
Mhm.
for, like, such a time as this, and so, like, there's no need to, like, shy or, like, be nervous or, like, be afraid to, like, just go be you. So, that's what I'm super excited for.
I love that, and your, like, confidence and positivity, it just, like, radiates, like, through the screen,
Yeah.
and I just think everyone can take away, like, being positive through injury, through opportunity, through like, meeting other people, like, you have just a lot of qualities that I think people can look forward to getting to know more.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Um, well, I don't think I have any other questions or any questions left, but if you have anything else you wanna say, the floor has been yours, so whatever you want. Whatever you wanna say.
Anything I wanna say? Oh, pony up. That's about
Pony up, baby!
it.